Oh, yeah. Elite Eight bound Tennessee Volunteers tonight move on tonight as they take care of Creighton tonight with a score of 82-75, led by a big 18-0 run in the second half, and they never looked back at that point. And, hats off to this team, overcome a little bit of adversity tonight with Vescovy being out, and, guys stepped up in his place. Here's the funny, some of you guys are probably going to have to guide me a little bit on this. I was actually not even sure I was going to be back in time to do this, so I was keeping up with it on the road tonight. But I was able to kind of keep up along the way. Meshack, I'm a Meshack guy. I've always said it. He probably should have more minutes than he does. But I'm going to pull up the stats here now and take a look at them. Thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you like this thing, share it, subscribe, all that jazz and stuff. Tennessee moves on Sunday to face Purdue. And I was telling my wife, at some point, we've got to beat Purdue in something. We have got to beat Purdue in something. Why not this Sunday? Why not start right there and go with it? But see, I'm going to pull up the stats and we'll kind of share my screen a little bit. So let's see here. There we go. Yahoo Sports. Somebody give me that and said it was a pretty good one. So looking at the game tonight. So I'm looking from Creighton's end. It was about what I figured. It was a 4-man show pretty much tonight. For Tennessee's end, Dalton Connect 26. I don't really like this stat thing from Yahoo, to be honest with you. I'm going to pull up. I don't want team gear. Never mind. Ziegler 18, Josiah Jordan James 15, Awaka 5-5, Adu 4-4 tonight. Only 17 minutes from him. So you guys will have to fill me in a little bit on that one, as obviously doesn't look like he had that big of a game. Not sure his defensive impact. His call winner was 14-7. So this is so I want to pull up too. I want to look at ESPN stats. ESPN normally has the shooting. I want to see the team stats on this as well as go for it. So I'm going to go through some of your comments here on it. Will Murley says Meshack was huge tonight. Also said JJJ played like a fifth-year senior too. That was, I was keeping up with it. I saw he come out and hit his first 2 threes out of the gate. And I said, what? That's a good sign for Tennessee tonight. A real good sign. G. White, great win. This is how I thought it would go. We won the inside the paint, points off turnovers, rebounding, and we shot the ball well. We'll pull up that with ESPN.com statistics here. Let's see. I'm going to look at the team stats first. So team stats. I hate when it does this. These videos will play. Let's see. I'll take it off here. Get it on to. Let me see here. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Team stats. This is what I was interested in tonight. Creighton 44.8, 47.8 from 3-point. Tennessee 45.8. So that was one to me, I said coming in. One of my keys to victory in this is I said if Tennessee can hold Creighton down to about 31% around that, give or take. Well, they did, and this kind of mirrors Kentucky game a little bit, but I think we're going to see some other things coming in on this where it come into play. So Creighton shot all up. Tennessee is not, I don't think coming in Tennessee was the shooting team that Creighton was, but Tennessee shot well. Now you'll take that on any nights. Free throws. This went, Tennessee got to the line, it looks like a little more than I anticipated tonight, because Creighton's a team you just don't get to the free throw line on often. So that went about as we figured, but a little better I would say. Rebounds, Tennessee 37-36. Yeah, that went about like I figured. Offensive glasses, Creighton's not that good on it. Assists 16-13, steals 5-1, 5-2 on blocks. Total turnovers 9-4. There was your 30-30 points in the paint. Fast break points 17-5. There's your big difference in the game right there. Fast break points, 12-point difference in it. So you're looking at the shooting percentages. Creighton shot well, rebounds, won it by 1. So not a drastic difference there. So it's just a team that stepped up and did their job tonight. It's basically what it come down to. Let's see. Tobey and Meshack were awesome. Adu has to be better. Yes, Will Meshack was key. Hurt when he was out. Not saying he's MVP, but hurt when he had to sit. And that's good, man. Meshack is, I still say he's an underrated guy on this team. He really is. I mean, based on what he gives this team, and let's see, and we'll go to the box score. Here we go. Get a little bit more. We'll look from Tennessee's perspective. So Adu, 2 of 8, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 4 points. Connect, 8 of 21, 3 of 7, 5 of 6, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers, 24 points. That's a big night for Dalton Connect. Ziegler, 18 points, 6 assists, only 1 turnover, 4 rebounds, 3 of 6 from 3-point, 3 of 5 from field goal, 6 of 14, or 3 of 6, 3-point, 3 of 5 free throw, 6 of 14 field goal. Meshack, 2 of 5, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, 4 fouls. And I heard him saying on it too. Apparently he had he said he basically is fouled out twice in the game that got overturned. So that's a pretty big thing there. So yes, he does. We won't win Sunday if tonight's Adu shows up. And as we know too, he's going to have his work cut out for him on Sunday against Edey. You know, say what you will about Edey. He's big. He knows how to use that big body of his, and he knows how to control that paint. So it's it's going to be a big matchup, and I'm gonna pull Purdue's stats here and look at them tonight as well, as we know what Edey, I'm sure, did. Awaka finally started to attack the rim instead of fadeaway shots. Love some Awaka. He's been playing better down the stretch, and his biggest thing is just staying out of foul trouble. That has been the deal with Awaka all year. He gets in foul trouble, and then they really don't have much choice but to get him pulled out at that point. Let's see. Will says, I'd say he was the MVP. IK, DK, and ZZ did their thing, but Shaq was huge. Let's see. We do our best when DK gets about 20 to 25 points. I think it is a case where I don't know, man. I just think it's a case where in those situations where he's getting 20 to 25, somebody else is doing their job to help out. And I think that's huge for them as well. Tonight, you had a few different guys doing it. I mean, you look at the scoring here at Tennessee: Adu 4, Connect 24, Ziegler 18, Meshack 4, James 17, and that's big for him tonight. 6 of 6 free throws. That was one of the things I said in my comments or my videos. I did a few of them leading up to it. And I said, this guy can shoot free throws well. He shot 82% on the year, and losses he shot closer to like 87. So it's like, this is a dude that needs to be getting to the rim to shoot those. Let's see. He had 6 of 6 on free throws, 3 of 5 3-points, 4 of 6. So he only took 1 jumper overall. Awaka, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 fouls, so not bad. 2 of 7 for him, 1 of 1 to free throw. DeLeon looks like played a little bit. Cam Carr hit a 3 tonight, had a rebound, so productive time for him. Jordan Gainey, 7 points, 1 block, 2 rebounds, 1 of 3, 3.35. That's a pretty solid night for him. A nice contribution from him. So most of the guys stepped up. It looks like, your one guy that didn't is the dude you really need to step up. Let's see. We got Sharman Soft Adu tonight. Adams bailed us out. Yeah, it looks like Edu. Again, I say this as you guys are kind of leading me on this one tonight. Is I had a prior commitment for months and had to follow through on that. So I was keeping up with it pretty heavily. But let's see here. MVP hard to pick. ZZ is stud. DK was also DK, and that's what we need. And I don't disagree with the fact if he's around that 25-point mark, that's a good mark. And then you need those other guys. Now, if he's the only one doing it at 25, it's a long night for Tennessee. And the first time around, I think Connect only had like 15, and we'd seen a few games. Of course, Purdue was really Tennessee's first good test of the year. I want to go back to that game while we're on here as well. We're going to talk about this one a little bit and then shift focus into that one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled up. Yeah, I'm going to go through your comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're at 58 right now tuning in. This thing was impromptu. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to go live tonight, but got back just enough time to get it set up, get the dog out to do his thing for the night, get a snack, and get on here and talk a little basketball. Just ecstatic for this team. Second Elite Eight in program history. And, on the keeping up with 39-39, next thing you look, it's 55-39. And, Creighton tried to make a little bit of a game of it. And, they just didn't have enough. And Tennessee's defense, I think, I don't really know where the difference fell in there because Creighton shot well. Like their numbers were really good from what I'm looking at. So it's, some guys stepped up because I thought this was a game when I saw Vescovy was out. I really thought this was a game where it's like, his defense could have come in handy tonight. But, from Creighton's standpoint, for their guys, you had Mason Miller, 3 points, 1 of 1 shooting. Now, I looked at it, this guy coming in, I was like, while Tennessee focuses on the main four, Mason Miller's 3-point numbers for Creighton were really good on here, but he doesn't score much. And I noticed down the stretch, he was scoring less and less, but he did have 3. Kalkbrenner, 14 points, 7 rebounds. I think that's pretty respectable. Blocks, 2 turnovers. He was only. So that's, I think, holding him, a guy that size who has given Tennessee trouble this year, holding him to that's pretty respectable, in my opinion. Ashworth, 16 points. He was a guy I thought could kind of be an X factor because he was 4-6 3-point, 6-9 field goals, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He was a guy had some big games for Creighton this year as well, especially when I analyzed some of those losses. He helped keeping in some games. Shireman, 25 points, 6 boards. Trey Alexander, 13. I think here's where your big difference might have come in because he was Creighton's second leading guy coming in to this game, holding him to 3 of 12 on the night. He had 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He did have 3 turnovers, and that was one thing I talked about. And Tennessee didn't force a lot of turnovers tonight, but I noticed in Creighton's losses on the year that Alexander specifically was the guy who stood out to me on turning the ball over, and they forced 3 out of him tonight. That's big. That is big right there. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. James played his ass off. Now, man, I'm happy for him too. And, if Tennessee goes out on Sunday, they go out next weekend, or they win it all. If they do lose up to that point, I really hope it's a game where these fifth-year seniors aren't the ones to blame on it. Because let's face it, they're going to have a tall task ahead of them. No pun intended. They're going to have a big task ahead of them on Sunday. And we know Tennessee's history playing freaking Purdue and anything. There's always something screwy in there, it seems. Now, back in Maui, it wasn't, but we know when Purdue beat them in the Sweet 16 a few years back, that was, for lack of a term, that was a bunch of bullshit. And it's, to this day, Lamonte Turner has not fouled, what was his name? Carson Edwards for Purdue. He still hasn't fouled him to this day. We remember the Music City Bowl where that Jalen Wright was still digging, and whatever hideous crap they come up with on that. that, Purdue just had to kick a field goal for the game. But at some point, Tennessee has got to beat freaking Purdue in something. And I can't think of a better time to do it than now. Let's see. Logan says Triple J was extremely solid tonight. G White, our 3-point shooting was massively improved. Points off turnovers was us plus 10. That's big. That was one place that I looked at in this. Creighton is one of the worst teams in the entire country in terms of forcing turnovers. That was one. There were some areas that concerned me about this matchup, but there was enough in Tennessee's favor that I liked it. And the turnovers was one of them, getting those extra points. That's 10 points. That's a 10-point difference in this ball game tonight, which in turn is basically the difference in that game. Also didn't call at least 3 or 4 clear fouls. Creighton committed. Meshack's or James Pierce for D. I still say that Meshack may be the best defensive player in the country. Ziegler won Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He's not the best defender on this team, though. It's Meshack. They said that's what's helped Dalton connect so much this year is that him going against Meshack every day. And apparently those two go at it in practice. I love it. I think it's awesome. And I'm curious to see Meshack next year in Knoxville. I'm curious to see if he has more of an offensive role next year with you losing Connect, Fescovy, and James. So there's some offensive production that's going to have to be replaced there. And I don't know as of right now who's going to fill that either. I mean, you got to think Ziegler to an extent. You got to think Adu. Hopefully he makes strides. Look, let's face it on Adu. He still had a good year. He still improved a whole lot this year. He's got to get more consistent, though, for sure. And he really needs – I would like to see him beef him up a bit more. Because I think he goes around, they say 240 now. I don't know how he would play at 250. I don't know if that would limit him any, but that would be a solid weight where you could get him bruised. And I would like to see Barnes and staff go after a bruiser in the portal if there's any out there. And, we'll get into a little portal talk here in a few minutes also. I hadn't seen any names yet, but there were some interesting comments. I saw it from Illinois' coach, and so get to that. Edie needs to be roughed up in the parking lot today before practice. Let's see. Awaka be better on Edie. Awaka, okay. Awaka probably would, just because he's a physical guy, man. He's kind of that, I don't know, maybe that Grant Williams type build. He's thick. He's a strong dude there as well. Let's see what else we got here. There's some missed calls, but overall, they let both ends be pretty physical, which favored us. Yeah, that was one of the things coming in with Creighton. If you played them physical, it gave them a hard time. And I'm assuming that's what happened tonight. I know they talked about last year when they played San Diego State. San Diego State roughed them up and gave them a lot of trouble. I can't remember if that was Sweet 16 or Elite 8. Waka was a man. That pick and roll was huge with Ziegler and him. Let's see. How about Cam Carr banging a 3 from the corner? Freddie with a couple nice passes, too. That's big, man. That's big seeing those guys come in because their minutes have been down. And I really hope – I like those guys. And I really hope, it's easy. You come in, can get discouraged. You're a big man on campus from high school. You come in here, and then you're not playing. I've talked to somebody I know that their kids playing college baseball now and first year and not getting to play and talk about it's tough. And I can't imagine, I can't sit here and imagine that because you go from being the star, and then all of a sudden you kind of get humbled a little bit. And it's a case maybe you can go somewhere, you can leave and go play, or you can wait your turn. There's some guys at Tennessee, it's waiting their turn. Adu didn't play as much. Again, I know he didn't bring it so much tonight, but he has waited his turn along the way. There's been other guys down there who've done the same, and I hope some of these guys will be patient, stick around, because they could have some big roles next year on this team. But, yeah, that's big for Carr come in. Yep, Reese Winter said Cam Carr came in, hit a big 3-2. Darius Jones, go big orange, goes to Johnny Majors, takes it a step further and says, go big damn orange. Let's see, they got too tired. They'd had their hands on their knees after it run. We ran them into the ground, should have won by 40. I'm guessing Creighton kind of got hot after that run on it, but that was something I was going to be curious about. Did Creighton gas out? Only playing 6, 7 guys like they do. You got to think you're starting to get to that point in the season. It had to catch up with them at some point, especially you get a team like Tennessee who plays that suffocating defense on them. Let's see, 3 or 4 Creighton's threes came in the last 50 seconds when they foul us. We'd shoot, they'd get it run, fire away. Amazing, hit that many in a row to end it. Yeah, it looked to me like it was got the old Chinese spy balloon in the house tonight. All right. So Tennessee's defense was legit. Awaka is a beast. Tennessee 2.5-point underdog against Purdue. So pressure on Purdue. Tennessee playing house money. Must get off to a good start. Totally agree. Totally agree with you on that. Come out and hit a few shots out of the gate, and that will be big. Now, if you remember back to Maui, so we'll kind of shift here a little bit to Purdue here in a minute. So we'll kind of go on this game. But, the big thing for me tonight was looking at if you would have told me Creighton shot the way they did tonight, I would have thought this team would have lost, to be honest with you. 75 points with them shooting 47.8% from three-point range, 92% from the free throw line, 44.8% in field goal. Only lose the rebounding battle by 1. If I would have seen all that, not seen a score on it, I would have said Creighton won this basketball game. So I think that's a testament to what this team did tonight. They were able to pull out that win with, Creighton shooting so well. Creighton hanging with them, rebounds. And I thought that was one could go either way, so I'm not really surprised on the rebound column. But again, the big one to me that stood out was the turnovers. Creighton just doesn't create them. And one of them, apparently, Gainey, was it toward the end? I don't know if he fumbled the ball on the inbound or what happened there, but that one sounded more self-inflicted than it did Creighton had forced it. So, you kind of get into that type game. You get those where you're even in some spots, where you're maybe not even in others. Like shooting-wise, still, Creighton showed they're probably a better shooting team than Tennessee, even though I think we've got to be happy with how Tennessee shot that. Tennessee shoots that well. I normally like their chances to win. But the funny thing to me is when Tennessee has shot that well this year, they've given up some pretty big numbers like they did against Kentucky the first time and then against Creighton as far as shooting-wise goes, or at least good percentages that they gave up. So if Tennessee's just a 2.5-point underdog, that's not bad. That is not bad. Let's see. Swayze, 865, bring on big 7'4" Zach Edey. I'm ready for redemption, man. I wanted Purdue. I really did. And it may be one of those things. Be careful what you wish for, but we've only had one redemption matchup this year, and it didn't go well. That was against Mississippi State. So this is redemption part 2. We'll see. I want to pull up. I want to look at Purdue's stats tonight. I want to see what they looked like. So, I just seen that. I always have college baseball scores. Not a good night for the Vols tonight. Funny thing, I was actually in Athens tonight. Didn't hear anything down there about baseballs keeping up. A bad night for the baseballs. So I hope that's they get it out of the way tonight and take care of business the rest of the weekend. So Purdue was 80-68 tonight, 40-40 each half for them. So they played pretty good defensively. They held Gonzaga to 31.6 3 points. Gonzaga only got to the free throw line 7 times against them tonight. Rebounds, 32-25 for Purdue, 24 assists for Purdue tonight. Only 9 turnovers. That's pretty impressive. Purdue shot 45% from 3-point, 57 from field goal. Wow. Edie 27 and 14 tonight. Smith, dang, 14 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds. Wow. Jones 12, Lawyer 10. So that was kind of your Gillis 6, Hyde 5, Kaufman 6. So Edie kind of did his thing, and they were pretty spread other than that. So Purdue, anytime you only allow a team to get to the free throw line 7 times, that's impressive. That is very impressive. And I know they get away from Edie gets away from with some stuff, him being as big as he is, but that's still let's see, nothing else really stood out. Points off turnovers, they were both 8 and 8, so there was no advantage. Points in the paint, Purdue wore out Gonzaga 40-26 on that tonight. So, that's going to be something Tennessee's going to have to deal with. And, how are they going to defend Edie? You may have to see some JP Estrella Sunday as well, especially if you get Awaka and or Adu in some trouble. You may have to get Estrella in to kind of get what you can out of him, possibly. I don't know if you maybe go with some lineups with Adu and Awaka. It'll be interesting to see. Let's see here. Richard Patton, we really needed Triple J. I mean, I'm tickled to death to hear that with the game he had tonight, because he's been playing better down the stretch. And, I think it was big for him, just his shooting. 3 of 5 from 3-point, 6 of 6. So he's getting to the line, 17 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. I still always say that James, I feel he should be more of a driver type, more of a slasher. But, his game is more 3-point, to be honest with you. Let's say we're at 83 people in here. This is awesome, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being with me here tonight. It's a great night for Tennessee basketball. Only the second ever Elite 8 in program history. And there's been some good teams down there over the years. I mean, this, I guess you could officially say at this point, this is Rick Barnes' best team. And that possibility was there this year coming in. And I don't think anybody could have saw what we were getting with Dalton Connect. You think, yeah, you're getting this guy, he'll be a big contributor. But man, he's been amazing. Been amazing what he's done this year. And it's because of him that they have a chance. They have a chance to be playing a few more games. And who knows? I mean, 2-1s have gotten bounced this weekend. Of course, UConn looked dominant last night. It's going to take a lot to beat UConn. But, we'll see. I feel if Tennessee can get by Purdue, if they can get by Purdue, they're winning it. Maybe I'm crazy on that one, but I feel if you could get past that pain in the ass that's known as Purdue, you can win that thing. And that's what Purdue is. There's no other way for me to put it. Purdue, pain in the ass to Tennessee. That's all they are. Let Edie get his 20 and 12 and lock down everyone else. I think that's key. It looks like that's what gave Gonzaga issues tonight. It was a well spread out offense for Purdue outside of Edie. Guys anywhere from that 6 points to 12 to 15 points. That's let's face it, it's a good basketball team. It really is. Creighton had nothing left after they fought back from the 15-point deficit. Tennessee played that well even without Vescovy. I was curious how that would work out tonight with Vescovy. Would they play better? Would they play worse? Would you notice it or not? And I thought with Creighton having those 4 main guys that Vescovy's defense and what he did would have been needed tonight. But, the first thing Barnes does, he inserts Meshack. And Meshack is such an unsung dude on this team. Cannot state it enough. I mean, you don't look at his scoring numbers and see it, but just everything else he brings. Like, it's funny, it was the second Alabama game. He had a little stretch where I can't remember, it was a couple turnovers possibly. And I was saying, I think I made comments like, get him out of the game. And then about that time, he made a few plays that turned the game around. And, that last, what was it, 8 minutes they held Alabama scoreless. He was a huge part of that night. Easily could have been your player of the game, in my opinion, that night. Let's see what else we're getting. 83 of you still in here. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, guys, for being in the chat, for driving this thing tonight. John Baxter had an elite offense, played very well, which shows how good we were tonight to pull it out. This is 2 games in a row now. Tennessee last year does not win. They don't win these games last year. Tennessee last year would not have beaten Texas last week. They were able to overcome their worst shooting performance of the year and win that in the NCAA tournament last week against Texas. They were able tonight to allow Creighton to shoot 47% from three-point range, right at 45 for the game. Win the rebounding battle by 1. So give or take, is almost a push. But that tells you how far this team's come offensively. Because, again, there's no way last year they win this game with Creighton shooting that well offensively. The fact that Tennessee in their own right tonight was 40, right at 46%. Another stat I like for Tennessee tonight, 83.3 from the free throw line. That's pretty good. 15 out of 18. Connect missed 1. Ziegler missed 2. Other than that, James 6 for 6. Awaka 1 for 1. So just a good, efficient night there. 16 assists, only 4 turnovers. That's a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That's very good. Very good. Only 14 fouls for Tennessee tonight. Creighton had 17, so they, that was a matchup that stood out to me as Creighton just not allowing teams to get to the free throw line. The fact that Tennessee got there 18 times tonight, that's pretty good. I'm pretty proud of them for doing that. Let's say Creighton lost, playing a pretty solid game. The difference, Tennessee's improved shooting and that defense. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cannot agree more. When they announced Vescovy was out, I was worried because he's a good defender with the freshman stepping up. Vescovy plays can be the X factor on defense against Purdue. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing with Vescovy. He's not shot great this year. But that's what Rick Barnes has talked about with him. He's done so many other things. I think we lose sight of that sometimes because of the shot. My biggest thing with Vescovy is when he goes driving in. It's a waste. It's the biggest waste, especially if he's going, unless he's just wide open, he's going to go up and flop. And it absolutely kills me to watch him drive in because it's either going to be some wild pass or, something along those lines. But, yeah, his defense, I hope he's back on Sunday because I definitely think it will be needed in there as well. And you need all the depth you can get. Let's face it. Need all the depth we can get on that. Oh, man, I forgot about A&M. You're right. Our redemption game. That's right. That was the first redemption game. I forgot about A&M. So, yeah, A&M drilled them in game 2. Mississippi State's the one I was thinking. I forgot about the A&M redemption. So 1-1, might as well make it 2-1 on the year for Tennessee, for sure. Duke took out Houston tonight, 54-51. So Houston's gone. Houston was lucky they got by A&M last week. They were very lucky on that. This is one you're going to have to factor. Dang, man, yep, y'all are right. I totally, all right, I'll get to those comments in a minute. So Tennessee is, this is what you're going to have to factor in Sunday. Purdue gets the favorable whistles. How in the hell did I forget South Carolina and Texas A&M? That's what I'm trying to think of at this point. How in the world do I, especially South Carolina? I lived in Columbia for over the year, the last, for almost a year and a half here just recently. So how in the world do I forget that? So Tennessee, I've probably forgot another redemption game here tonight as well. Tennessee 2-1 in redemption games already. this year. Let's make it 3-1. So hopefully I didn't forget any other ones. Maybe I'll just quit talking about it since I'm forgetting them right now. Gainey made some big plays. Absolutely. Good for him tonight. Big shots for him. John Baxter says, hit that thumbs up. Yeah, you guys have been pretty good about that, hitting those thumbs up, man. So I appreciate that. And if there's any Tennessee fans that, likes basketball, baseball, they're having trouble finding basketball coverage, what have you, send them this way, man. This will be the focus of this channel's baseball, basketball. I'll cover football more. I'll be honest. I don't know. I've just not been into football right now with this run Tennessee's on and with baseball going on too. But I am curious to see what all comes off this spring period with football when it ends. And then, a lot of these analysts are predicting the portal to just go crazy. So I'm really curious to see what happens with that. And if it does, how could that hopefully favor Tennessee? You never know anymore with it. Only second Elite Eight for Bama, too. Yeah. I mean, hey, congrats to Bama for beating North Carolina last night. Congrats to them. Congrats to Clemson for beating Arizona. I was pretty happy with that one, too. Let's see. Chinese Spot. Hope everyone had a good Friday and celebrate our Savior's death and resurrection day. Absolutely. None of this is possible without it. Very good post there. And I hope you guys will be able to get out Sunday and celebrate too. Big weekend for that for sure. Let's see here. I'm assuming this is in regard to Purdue. That's because they're 45 minutes within NCAA headquarters. I know when Tennessee's faced Purdue, it has not gone Tennessee's way in any way. See, Darius Jones says, Tennessee, I know we'll have to deal with the rest that will favor Purdue, but if Tennessee limits Purdue's threes, they have a shot. Edey will get his points, but lock down their others. So I want to go back to the first matchup here as well. I'm going to go to utsports.com. Tennessee, up to that point, had they played Wisconsin on the road. So, yeah, they did. Wisconsin was, they played Michigan State in the exhibition game, but that was pretty intense game. They played Wisconsin. They played Syracuse, which Syracuse did not make it. So let's see. Let's look at Purdue box score the first time. 71-67. Tennessee led at the half in that game, 31-30. I'll kind of share where you guys can follow along with me here on it as well. Let's see. Here we go. So 31-30, 41-36 second half. So at that point, that was each team's fifth game of the year. So looking here, you had Connect with 16 points, 7 rebounds. He had 3 turnovers in that game. Meshack had 9 in that game. I mean, look at these fouls right here. Adu fouled out Vescovy. Meshack had 4. Awaka fouled out. Estrella in 8 minutes had 3. They had 30 freaking fouls in that game. Let's see how many Purdue had. 21. I remember that being a whistle heavy game because it was like, let them play a little bit, for crying out loud. Meshack had 9 that game. Vescovy 8. I mean, this was another one. Adu 5 points, 1 rebound. Woo. James 3. Jordan Gainey, I remember him having 15. He kind of kept them in that game at that point at one point. Awaka 6, only had 4 rebounds. Ziegler was not starting at that point. He wasn't playing as many minutes, so he didn't have one. So, that's going to be a factor as well. You got to think first time Tennessee played Purdue, they didn't have really, I would say, a fully healthy Ziegler. Now, you got to think both teams have probably gotten better since that, but that's a pretty big difference if you ask me. Tennessee having a fully healthy Ziegler. Now, here's your percentages, which I think is pretty. Tennessee actually shot in that game better from 3-point range in the second half and better from the free throw line in the second half. Field goal percentage was way down, so that was where they struggled. The rebounding battle in that one, see, Tennessee had 31 rebounds. Good gosh, Purdue had 44. Wow, there was your difference in that game. I don't think you can say much more. Look, this second half for Purdue also. 54% from field goal, 40% from three-point. They only took 5. But, based on this, it looks like they really held the paint. And, Tennessee, the first time, Lawyer had 27, Edey had 23 and 10, and really not any other guys did a whole lot, but those two did enough. But also at this point, looking at Tennessee scored, they were kind of, I don't know, they were pretty spread out here. You had Connect with 16, which at that point we really didn't know what his game was going to be. We didn't realize he would become the scorer he is. Gainey had 15 that game. Gainey had a couple good scoring games out in Maui, but other than that, he's not had a ton of double-digit scoring games. So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting. How does Tennessee, you can't let Edey go too wild is the thing about it. You can't let him go for 30 and 20 or anything like that. 30 points, 20 rebounds. If you hold him to what you did there, you're going to have to keep some of those other guys down. You can't allow a Lawyer to go for 27 or somebody else. You got to keep them down on that. You cannot allow them to do what they did in the second half shooting-wise. They didn't shoot many threes in that game in the second half, but their field goal percentage was insane on that one. Let's see, TK81, he is risen. Absolutely. Absolutely. UConn's going to be tough. They are. I mean, they've just something about them the last couple of years, and they get to the tournament. They just go up another level as if they could go another level, but they do. Let's see. Creighton coach said respect to UConn, but they're not Tennessee defensively. I was reading some of the stuff about Tennessee, some of the Creighton previews going in, and all those said that Creighton had not faced a defensive team like Tennessee all year. So, yeah, that's interesting. TK says Tennessee more physical on D than UConn. Tennessee and Alabama in the Elite 8. Both teams win. Social media might be down. That'd be pretty wild. Alabama will have a shot against Clemson. Alabama will have a good – I mean, Clemson's playing pretty good coming in, but we'll see. I think Alabama will have a shot to go to the freaking Final Four, which honestly I hope Clemson beats them. But Tennessee's bench had 15, Creighton's 5, so bench depth was also key. Yeah, and I think that was something that had to be given coming in just due to Creighton's short bench. But, a thing that always concerns me is letting some guy that's normally not a factor all of a sudden have a career night. We've seen Tennessee make people before. Edey needs to be humbled. I want to see him get sent home. And this is really kind of a battle of your possible candidates for Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. Now, Edey's probably going to win it, but Tennessee fans have been making a lot of noise for Connect, and rightfully so. So, at some point, if you're Tennessee, you got to. I'm probably getting monotonous and repetitious saying it, but you've got to beat Purdue at some point here. You absolutely have to. Spy Blunt, hopefully Vescovy will be better Sunday. Flu-like symptoms, so that should be interesting. You got to think probably IVs, rest for him. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him out there on Sunday. I would think with him, because I was thinking there's been times before he's been sick and played. He must have been in pretty bad shape to not play tonight, because he wanted to get out there, especially with it. Any game right now could possibly be his last game at Tennessee. So for him not to play tonight tells me he was extremely sick, because he's not a guy that's just going to miss a game. He just isn't. Going back to the Purdue, a couple of talking points I'll go at. We'll talk about Purdue a little bit and where they rank. I'm going to we'll pull up the Ken Palm rankings here. I want to kind of look at that, see where they've got Purdue. I like the Ken Palm rankings. I'll kind of share the screen. We'll go over that a little bit. We'll kind of go ahead and do us a Purdue Tennessee preview, and I will record one sometime tomorrow here as well. So look at the Ken Palm rankings here. Of course, they have Tennessee 1, Connecticut 1, Houston 2, Purdue 3. Ken Palm was high on Auburn all year. Had Auburn up there, and I don't get where I don't know, the disconnect was with Ken Palm and Tennessee. He always had Tennessee around, I think as high as I saw him was 5. And then they moved Duke and Arizona. So this is played 2 of 4 games tonight. I don't know, not that it really matters how he ranks them at this point, but adjusted offense, Purdue, 3rd in the country, adjusted defense, 17. So what these are, if you're not familiar with it, and I'm sure some of you are, if you've listened to my videos, I've talked about Ken Palm, and I always like the plus minus. I can't find a good plus minus side. It's like when they do come up, it's rare that they do. But adjusted offense, and right here's what it is: adjusted offensive points scored per 100 possessions is what that is. So per 100 possessions, I'm guessing they have Purdue scoring 126.5, and then adjusted defense is adjusted. Let's see, points allowed per 100 possessions. Purdue ranks 17th, so where Tennessee has that advantage there is Tennessee ranks 3rd net. Adjusted offense, Tennessee's 29th. So your differences here is close to 6 points defensively that Purdue gives up more per 100 possessions, and with Tennessee, Purdue averages about 10 points more. So unfortunately, that aggregate, I guess if you want to go that way with it, does not favor them. But 3-17, 29-3 with Tennessee. And I think that obviously that 29 is probably your game with Texas, your game with Mississippi State helped bring that down, because Tennessee was at one point inside top 20 on that, if I'm not mistaken. But that's been a little bit now. And of course, I mean, right here you got Connecticut, number 1 adjusted offense, number 6 adjusted defense. It's going to be really hard to beat Connecticut. I mean, Houston was number 2 defense. I mean, they showed up their defense tonight and held Duke to 54. Only problem is they only scored 51. Let's see what else. Who else? Creighton right here. You had them adjusted offense 10, adjusted defense to 23. So, this was a good team that Tennessee beat tonight. Make no mistake about it. This was a really good team that they beat tonight. And, just taking care of business, man. Just taking care of business on it. If it was flu spread the locker room, which is concerning, hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah, I hope not either. I didn't really think about that, but hopefully they've kind of kept him away on it. Bob Franklin said just recently found IK of Miss Frank Rock's basketball break. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Bob. Thank you very much. Appreciate you tuning in. Glad to have you on the channel here as well. Hopefully you'll check out the videos for basketball, baseball. Once basketball season wraps up, I'll probably go back to doing live baseball, try to build that brand a little bit. If you're a baseball guy who there's numerous channels who covers basketball post game. There's not on baseball. I did a couple baseball post games. Not a lot of interest in it at that point. I mean, one of the games I think was UNC Asheville. The Texas Tech one did pretty good. The Baylor one, the Oklahoma one that first weekend didn't do too well either. But, especially SEC play, may try to go with that a little bit more as well. And so we'll see where that's at. Chinese Spy Balloon, love listening to you. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you guys for your comments. Tuning in. You realize that your comments and stuff help drive this thing as well, because if it's just me sitting here talking with no comments, I would probably shut it down after about 20. I can talk. Don't make no mistake. I can talk a lot, but, it gets to a point where, you guys are driving the chat. So it's I'm grateful to you for tuning in, grateful to you guys for supporting, and grateful to you for, like I said, helping to drive this thing as well. So shifting back to Purdue. So looking at that on the year. So Purdue's averages on the year. Let me see what they're. I want to go back to the schedule for Purdue. So I can kind of go ahead. Like I said, we'll just kind of go ahead and preview this. So I'm going to do some stat comparison here with them. And, the stats aren't the be all end all. Let's make no mistake about it. They're not. But they do give you a good gauge of where things are at and where they go. And that's why I like to, I don't know, just a good comparison. They're more trend than anything for sure. But I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know here either. Let's see, statistics. I'm going to look at team statistics. I'm going to kind of look at. So there's probably going to be some similarities here between the two. So I'm looking at team for both. So Tennessee on the year, 79.1 per game, 79.1 points per game, 67.3 they give up. Purdue averages 83.8, gives up 69.4. So they're pretty close in those metrics. Actually, Purdue scores about 4 more, gives up a couple more per game. So based on those averages, man, I totally expect this to be a close game on Sunday. Let's see, JL, this helps us thing of getting run real good. Gosh. I was keeping up with that, and all of a sudden I looked, and it's like second inning, 6-0. And that was one thing coming in. Georgia possibly has the top player in the nation in Condon right now. That was one of the things that talked about with them coming in is this team can hit. And they obviously did that tonight. They beat Tennessee's pitching really concerns me. That's Frank Anderson's going to earn his money this year. There's gosh, how that pitching staff could look so much different. But that's that's another thing. That's something I'm not over because I think, and you guys probably know who I'm referring to on that. The guy at Wake Forest. To me, I just think that should have been avoided by everybody all the way around, and it wasn't, and it sucks and it stings. And something that's lost is they thought all summer they were getting Hoylman, who went to LSU, and then he ended up going to LSU. Tony Vitello had mentioned we thought we had a guy. His dad had told us he was coming and everything, and then all of a sudden he went somewhere else. He didn't say by name or who, but that's who it was. It was Holman, whatever it is. Spy Balloon, Chinese Spy Balloon. Hit subscribe. Yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Hope we get the pitching ironed out as we go. I hope so too, man. I mean, Russell, I did read where he avoided. There's no elbow injury with him, so that's a good sign. And really, he'll probably be out a few weeks, maybe even a month that I've read on that. If he's the main time you need him is down the stretch. That's when they need him down the stretch. Let's see. Let me get back on topic here with. So Purdue for the year, field goals 49%. They give up teams shooting just a little less than 42. Tennessee 44%. Opponents about just a low 38.8 on the year. 3-point Tennessee shoots 34%. Opponents about 31%. For Purdue shoots 41% for threes on the year, and their opponents shoot 31%. That's pretty impressive. Free throws are about 72%. Tennessee is about the same. Tennessee 75%, so they're actually a better free throw shooting team. Purdue averages 40.6 rebounds per game. This is one, it can't be what it was in Maui. Tennessee's 39.1, so that's only 1.5 difference. So again, going back to the game in Maui, it cannot be what it was then. Or, the fact that Tennessee got out rebounded that much and only lost by 4, I think is a pretty positive sign. Let's see. Bob says, I believe 100% Tennessee's the worst possible case scenario of Purdue. I've got to go Tennessee +7. I hope so. And again, the thing we talked about it too. And I heard him ask Rick Barnes at the end about it. And he said, we're a better team since then. He said Purdue is too. That was really all he said about it. So I'd be curious to see what he had to say there. But, looking, I want to see if I can see if Barnes has got any post-game comments up here tonight. Some of these sites are not good. Normally Twitter is pretty good. I don't know that Twitter's even that good about it anymore. Find it because it was the last game last week. I was trying to find some post-game comments and stuff, and they were nowhere to really be found except for like a couple of things. So let's see, log in here and see what I can find. See what some of Barnes' comments, but going back to that again is Tennessee's a better team. Again, I talked about it earlier. Ziegler, he played 28 minutes the first time. He did not start, and he was not the Ziegler that he is now either. He was still working his way back from it. That could be a big difference for Tennessee. That could be a big difference for him. Let's see. Am I the only one? Adu has struggled lately. Yeah, he has. I feel like down the stretch too. He's just not. I mean, in that Texas game, come out of the gates with just not playing that well. I didn't think, and I thought he. Now I'll give him credit at the end. He hit his free throws when it mattered, but I just thought he had multiple opportunities, and he's not making do with them. JL, I'm tired of seeing him take his mid-range jumpers instead of attacking the basket. I kind of wonder if that was more of what Creighton gave him tonight, because that's Creighton's game, is to give you that mid-range jumper. And normally he's pretty good about that too. But, here recently, it's not. But, yeah, he's got to be more aggressive. But they're going to have a tough time with that against Purdue due to Edey's size. I mean, he's a monster. He is a big, big guy. And he knows how to use his body. He knows how to control that paint. I mean, you can say what you want about him, what he does, but the guy, he knows his game. They use him perfectly in how they use him. It's going to be tough for him. Let's see, Bob said agrees fine, JL, and he struggled defensively well. That's why he's, looking at it, that's why he played 17 minutes tonight. And, that's just not going to get it done. That's just not going to get it done. And Tennessee needs the good Jonas Adu to come in. They need him. They need him to be there. Trying to see. I wonder if they got. Normally they'll upload some press conference. Let's see them. Nope, they don't have. Oh, they got Vitello's post game. I bet that would be interesting to hear tonight, or not interesting, maybe. Let's see if Twitter's got anything up here. Well, dang, I seen somebody on Twitter say I don't want to play Purdue. Well, if that's the case, then you wanted to go to the house tonight then. Here's a funny stat. Somebody, Tennessee is now 13-0 when Cam Carr records 1+ minute on the court. Well, I would put him in for 2 minutes on Sunday at least. Let's see what Creighton's coach, he said, Tennessee's got a heck of a team, played well, and I've known Coach Barnes a long time. There's a lot of good people in the business, but you'll have a hard time finding a better one. Got everybody in their good luck charms. If you've had a good luck charm going in this tournament so far, if you have one going so far, keep on wearing them. Keep on. God, Daniel Smith in the house. What's up, buddy? Good to see you on here, man. Hanging out Arizona. So it is, what, about 10:39 your time right now? So appreciate you tuning in, man. Hope you're having a good time out in Arizona. And let's see, JL, he had to talk about Triple J hitting threes tonight. That's big for him. That really is. That's big for him. Let's see, Darius said Tennessee got a few breaks from the refs. They must capitalize on it. Looking back, I was going to go back here, try to see some more comments. Rocky Top Insider seems to be looking at. Stephen Ainsworth says it in the first half, the Blue Jays struggle getting the ball to the outside for perimeter shots from the inside because of Tennessee's defense. McDermott on Tennessee's big second half run. We really haven't had anyone do that to us this year. We had to pull something out of our hat that we normally don't use. Zone defense. Rick Barnes, here's some comments from him. Really proud of the way our guys stuck together. Specifically points out Dillion's assist to connect and Cam Carr's threes, big plays from freshmen. Some of you guys on here mentioned that as well about Dillion having some nice passes when he come in and about Cam Carr hitting that three from the corner. That's efficiency right there. When these guys get their time, they come in and they make it happen. Then that's how now, is that going to up their minutes moving forward? No. Now, if Vescovy can't go on Sunday, who knows? But, that is one thing this year. I would have liked to have seen those guys get more time. And, you can't argue with the results, I guess, because you've got, they won the SEC regular season. Let's see. I think Tennessee got a few breaks or some weird calls from officials. Bob, good luck charm's been listed east side, west side from Snoop Dogg's murder was a case out of old school Tony Harris. Good Lord, that is old school. There, I like that was gosh, I hadn't listened to that album in years. I've gotten rid of all my CDs from one of my moves, and that got rid of some pretty good stuff. I wish I would have held on to. I guess mine, I've not really worn the same thing, but on my Instagram story, when I've uploaded my last preview, I've put my music with Metallica Seek and Destroy on it. And I can tell you, you never know I normally go more old school rap on there than anything, but I was feeling it. I think it was the St. Peter's game. I'm like, you know what? We're going to go. I was trying to think of something amped up beat, and I thought Metallica Seek and Destroy. So that one did. Now did it with Texas, did it with Creighton as well. So I can assure you the last video tomorrow in regard to this Tennessee Purdue game, it's going to be Metallica Seek and Destroy going again on it. So, yeah, if you got a good luck charm hat, shirt, if you hadn't showered since the tournament started, you said you're not showering until they lose, don't shower tomorrow. If you haven't shaved since they started, don't think about clipping any whiskers tomorrow or anything. You can save it for later on, guys. We've made it this far. If you've not worn deodorant now in over a week, there's no need to put any on tomorrow either. You can put some on hopefully next Monday night after it's always over. So, don't break anything else out. Don't, if you're eating a certain meal before the game, fix it again on Sunday. Whatever it is, if you're drinking a certain beer, make sure coffee or whatever, guys. We're at that point in the season where it is what it is. All right, got to keep on going. Oh yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised I grew up in the Tri-Cities, lived there for over 40 years. I just moved the last 5 years to South Carolina. Love it down here in the upstate. Cannot deny that. But oh yeah, I used to go to, I guess it was early 2000. I'd say my papa took me to my first game, and I think it was 90 down there. It was Andy Kelly's quarterback. Schuler was the backup. Then Tennessee played, I think it was Texas El Paso. It was like 56-0 when we went. That was my first experience going. First by myself, went a couple times in 98. Me and a buddy of mine were at the Arkansas game when Sterner fumbled. Other cool games, football went to. I was at the Florida game in 2004 when Will Hoyt kicked the field goal late that won it. I hadn't been to a UT basketball game in Knoxville in years. I think it was during the Conzo Martin era. I didn't go this year to Columbia, but I'd gone the last 3 years that they'd come to Columbia. Or no, I'm sorry, 3 out of the last 4 years. And then baseball, I've never been to a baseball game at Lindsey Nelson, funny enough. But Tennessee used to come up to Johnson City and play ETSU every year, and I always tried to go to that. And then 2 of the last 3 years they've come to Columbia and played, and I went to 4 of the 6 games out of that series as well. So, oh yeah, always been a UT fan. That's just coming up, family and everything. Always will be as well. Don't really. I kind of have some other interest in baseball, just other teams, and I've started I don't have a problem with Clemson, and I'm not that far from Clemson. I'm around a lot of Clemson fans too. I guess it helps that, last year Tennessee beat them in football and basically broke them in baseball too. But I still kind of pull for Clemson a little. But there's some of these other programs I like to see, like these smaller schools around. Coastal Carolina is fun to watch. Cal State Fullerton, East Carolina, a lot of these, they're really fun to watch in baseball as well. I mean, you got USC Upstate up here, Wofford, some of these that are pretty good. There's kids I've got that I've coached playing at Citadel now. There's some, a little known fact. I guess my claim to fame is Texas Rangers left fielder. I was fortunate enough to be able to coach him. Had nothing to do with it. I was there for the journey though. So it's been some cool experiences with baseball. There's one. I'm assuming most on here have been a fan for the most part. Some maybe picked them up along the way for whatever reason. Here, let's see. Been a fan since I was 7. Went to the Florida game, 22. Had great seats, saw players close. It was cool. Yeah, absolutely. And that Tennessee won now. Totally expect Tennessee's going to take care of business this year. And I would really like to go to that one. Hurts missing Amick. Yeah, that's not the guy I wanted to see get hurt at all. And hopefully he'll be back next weekend. From what I've gathered out of it, maybe he had his appendix surgery. So definitely out this weekend. Hopefully he'll be back next weekend. But, who knows? That the injury bug's starting to hit the baseball team a little bit, which is not a good thing at all. Let's see. Barnes on reflecting on Tennessee's run the tournament so far. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it till we're finished. Tennessee Purdue 2:20 on Sunday. So that's all the Barnes comments I've got for now on this one. I don't think there's anything. Let's see if there's any others uploaded on here. No, really. Well, let's see. They've got they've got Creighton's up on YouTube right now. I'm not going through that. I'm gonna wrap this thing up here in a couple minutes, man. But thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. It's been pretty awesome with you. 8 runs for Tony finally pulled Causey. I saw that, and that was let's see, Cassie Stewart. Good to see you in here, Cassie. Thanks for tuning in on here. Go Vols. I was a nervous wreck. We owe Purdue. Golly, you cannot state it enough. That's what I talked about earlier. And I'm just referring to Purdue as this, guys. I'm going to just put it the way I see it. I don't know. Purdue is a pain in the ass. They are a pain in the ass. And I badly want to see us beat Purdue on Sunday. Well, obviously, wouldn't matter who Tennessee played. I want to see it. But, God, I want to see Purdue go down. And, of course, Purdue fans have had a lot to say as well about it. But let's see. Get back to a couple. I want to go back to the one about Tell with Causey. So with not seeing it, I'm curious if you guys that watch baseball, was Causey just not locating tonight, or was just Georgia hitting that good? Or was it a combination of both tonight? Because I didn't see anything on it, just kept up with it. And it seemed like every time I pulled it up, it got worse. So it looked like a combination. I'll kind of pull that up. I mean, let's see. We go to D1, pull up some scores. I want to see what the 16-2. Florida is a funny baseball team. They lose like every midweek game, and then they come up and win the series on the weekends. See, Tennessee 2 errors, 10 hits tonight. Christian Moore 2 errors. That's been overdue. That's been overdue. Robin Villeneuve 0 for 3. Burke 2 for 4. Man, I'm impressed with what Burke, the changes he's made. No, he's not striking out like he was. He's hitting the ball all the way. He's really turned into a good hitter. Peebles, another rough night. And I would say out of any of the guys they got, I had a lot of course, Amick was the guy I had the highest hopes for, but and he's lived up to it. Peebles is disappointed. I've not been. I'm hoping he'll come out of it. Right here is Tennessee. One of their problems tonight: 6 walks. Causey 2. Stamos comes in and 1 2/3 3 walks. Schaefer 1. Dang, Schaefer gave up 5 runs. Dallas 2 earned. Stamos 1. Causey 8, 7 earned. That's a rough night. Looks like Tony kind of fed the young guys to the wolves. I don't blame him on that one. Don't blame him at all, actually. See, played football. Oh, okay, cool. Yep, I remember him playing. It was just recent, actually. Baseball team dug a big hole. Looked, I think it was, what did they get to, 6-2? Have a gut feeling the game is tied. Vescovy might hit a buzzer beat. That would be awesome. That would be freaking awesome for that to happen. Because you never know. You got to think if it comes down to it, they're probably going to cover Connect. So if Connect's able to get it and kind of drive and kick, somebody's going to be open. Vescovy, honestly, is probably the guy I would want in that situation because I still think he's probably, I mean, outside of Connect, really Tennessee's best outside shooter, even though it's maybe not shown this year. But I still think in that case, I would trust him in that scenario on it. Now, with him, a lot of times I think he's gotten more gun shy than anything, but who knows? I would love to see that. It would be so awesome. Right. Great show in the house, Rock, for advanced volunteer analytics. I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Causey was hanging out over the plate way too much. And yeah, that's Causey's game. I mean, you guys that have seen it have noticed when he has that movement going, he's hard to hit. But if I was curious about that because he hung him a little bit last week and got away with some stuff against Ole Miss. And then he kind of settled down. But Georgia's not the team. And, you know, if Beam's not on tomorrow, Georgia will run him early tomorrow night, too. Georgia can hit. They're probably, coming in, Georgia was number 1 in the country in home runs, Tennessee number 2. So it's a team that can hit. And this is not a great Tennessee pitching staff. It just isn't. Let's see. TK, hope everyone has a great night. Don't forget what Easter is about. Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, TK. Hope you have a great night as well. JL seemed to have some problems with the ump. Lots of booze tonight behind the backstop. Chinese spy balloon. I'm going to bed. It's 1 a.m. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. I really appreciate you. I think I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute, too. We're shifting a little baseball. We still got 70 of you on here, though. I mean, that's pretty cool. Especially in an impromptu show night. We need more strategy pitching. Man, I don't know where I would go with it if it were me. I feel like something's missing. I felt like something was missing last year. The starting rotation last year was not that good. Honestly, Dolander had an ERA like 4.3. That's not great. Beam at the end of the year was good. Lindsey was decent. But when he got to the end of the year, I didn't think he was that great. Burns bailed him out numerous times in the tournament with some of those outings where he come in and threw multiple innings. I mean, that team doesn't go as far as they do without Chase Burns last year. That's why I refuse to say a bad thing about Chase Burns with him leaving because that guy still down the stretch last year. And I've had some disagree with me on here, but to me, and what I saw was a guy who was still out there getting it every night he come in. I can't ask too much more from the guy than what he gave last year. Tony's trying to pitch to a lot of dudes in the last 2 games. Yeah. I mean, he is. He's doing what he can right now. And that's the thing with it that I would say as well. These guys walking batters. I mean, Tony can't come in and throw it for them. Frank can't come in and throw it for them. So it's some of it may have to be trial by fire. It really may. But you still got to look at this point. Last year, what Tennessee started SEC play like 5-10. So, right now on the year, they are, 3-4? I still think they have a good shot to win this series this weekend, but your pitching's going to have to be on. I'm curious to see who throws Sunday. It'll be Beam tomorrow. Do they just go ahead and start Snead out of the gate on Sunday, or do they go with somebody try to get, or they could do like they've done and start Seacrest, let him go a couple, and then bring Snead in to go for a while as well. That seemed to work pretty well for them so far. Of course, Snead was left in too long at Alabama, and Tony knows it. He made comment last week. He said, I probably cost us a game with some moves last week. But, if you don't trust other guys, what are you supposed to do? Do we see Combs? I don't know. I don't know about that. He's been disappointing so far. He's got the stuff. His problem is just walking guys too much. He's walking too many guys. That's what's hurting these freshmen, too. I was looking at them tonight. What got them in trouble? Let's see. Well, Schaefer only had one walk. He had 3 straight. He just got hit. Dallas didn't walk any. They just hit him tonight. I'm trying to see, did Georgia? It's not showing I know Collins hit a 3-run bomb. Condon 1 for 4, so he did not just kill you with what he didn't even have any RBIs. Their catcher, their shortstop. Yeah, I mean, this is a good baseball team. You got to bring it against them for sure. For sure. I'll tell you what, guys, it is what time? Good God, it's almost 2:00 in the morning. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing, guys. Getting to bed, but thank you, dudes. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Going late. We've got 1 hour and 17 minutes on this thing. Tennessee is rocking and rolling. They're into Detroit Rock City. They're rocking on to the Elite 8 on Sunday at 2 p.m. I will be live directly after the game. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a trip to the Final Four on Sunday. And, I still say Tennessee's a better team this time. Let's see. We have to beat Georgia and win the series. I hate all things Georgia. Their fans won't shut up. They are I have never gone to a game in Athens, but I've seen them play 3 times in Knoxville. And it's been a while. I said I won't go back. Tennessee's lost all 3 times, and there's just some mouths down there. And there's no way. I actually was in Athens tonight for a concert. That was my thing that I was at, and it had tickets for a month. But I said there's no. The only SEC road game I've been to in football was at South Carolina 2 years ago, and that's the worst experience that I've had at a game for sure. But I can't imagine going to Georgia. That it'd probably be at least twice as worse, if not bad. South Carolina was fine up till they started winning. All of a sudden, they got pretty mouthy that night. All right, let's again, thank you guys for 2:00 in the morning. I'm sure a bunch of you would probably stay here all night, talk Tennessee sports and stuff, but hopefully we'll have plenty to talk about on Sunday, plenty to talk about, and getting ready for the following weekend with this team as well. Hopefully the run keeps going. I said it for the tournament. I said I feel this team is either going to do one or two things. They're either going to go out the first weekend or they're going to make a Final Four run. So I'm going to run with it. I'm going to say we're going to the Final Four. I'll have a prediction up. I'll probably do it next day sometime in the morning, early afternoon. I will do a prediction, kind of break down the game tomorrow night as well, and get that posted. Try to do some, probably won't have as much baseball this weekend. I'll probably post a game 2 recap, but this is an easy. Would you trade a series loss against UGA for an Elite 8 win? I'll take the loss. Give me the series loss. If we need to go ahead and put it on paper that they get swept, I will trade Tennessee getting swept in baseball this weekend for going to the Final Four. I don't even have to think about that one. So they could get run ruled all 3 games for all I care this weekend. And Tennessee go to the Final Four, and I won't lose a week of sleep over it at all. But you guys take care. Have a good night. I am going to get out here on this one. But I hope to see you in here on Sunday. Make sure you share it out, hit that like. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe here as well. Lots of baseball, lots of basketball will be coming on here, and we'll get into that football train at some time. So I hope you guys have a good night. Sleep tight. And one thing to always remember, Tennessee is going to the Elite Eight. Purdue, we're coming for you. And to end it on that, as always, go Vols.